He hadn't meant it. Not really. Captain Darren Holt was 27 at the time, stationed on the remote colony of Rydery Prime as part of a humanitarian aid and defense mission. A backwater world, rich in minerals but plagued by interclan disputes among the native species, the Rydery. They looked somewhat like lanky humanoid lizards, their skin soft and patterned, eyes wide and gleaming like gemstones. Darren, ever the soft-hearted soldier, had been particularly drawn to one of the local families he often delivered supplies to. They were quiet folk, gentle and respectful, and among them was a tiny Rydery girl with silver-speckled skin and antennae that twitched with curiosity whenever she saw him. Her name was Keela. She was only 7 Rydery cycles old, barely 10 in human terms. Keela followed him around with a wide smile, mimicking his voice, laughing at his jokes even when they made no sense to her. She offered him weird local fruit that tasted like peppered melon and taught him to whistle using the windpipes near the rocks. She even tried to braid his hair once, though Darren's military buzz cut gave her very little to work with. One day, while the two sat under the twin suns, sharing a snack, she had looked at him with complete seriousness and said in her chirpy, accented voice, "You make me happy, Darren. I will bond with you when I am grown." Darren, laughing, patted her scaled head. "Sure, kiddo. When you're all grown up, you come find me. I'll marry you myself." They both laughed. Then duty called, and he left Rydery Prime a month later. Years passed. Wars came and went. Darren climbed the ranks. He was no longer stationed on the edges of the galaxy but served as an advisor aboard a high-ranking diplomatic vessel. He'd mostly forgotten about Keela, chalking her up to one of those bittersweet memories that got buried under the weight of life and responsibility. That was, until she walked into the diplomatic chamber 12 years later. The Terran Alliance had received an unexpected summit request from a now-united Rydery people. It was historic. These beings had been splintered for generations, unable to form anything resembling central leadership. And yet, here they were, with one ambassador representing all clans. Darren didn't even recognize her at first. She wore a flowing ceremonial cloak stitched with clan patterns. Her body was taller now, more lithe, graceful, like an artwork in motion. Her eyes still gleamed like they did when she was a child, but they carried the weight of command and wisdom. Her antennae twitched slightly as she looked around the room. And then her gaze fell on him. She smiled. "You grew older, Darren Holt. But I never forgot your promise." He froze. His mind raced back, years collapsing into that one sun-drenched afternoon with a child and a laugh and a joke he never meant to keep. You're Keela," he said, his voice caught between shock and wonder. She stepped forward, unbothered by the awkward silence of the room around them. "I told you I would come find you when I was grown." The diplomats from both sides exchanged curious glances. Darren cleared his throat. "You became ambassador." "I united the clans," she said, her voice strong. "The memory of your kindness was a seed I planted. I told my people that humans were not like the others. That we could trust you. That there was one among you who never demanded tribute or obedience. Only offered help, and laughed with a child." He didn't know what to say. Behind the stern exterior of the officer, something soft cracked. A warmth stirred. Keela continued, "And now, I have come to fulfill 2 missions. One is to join the Rydery and Terrans in peaceful alliance. The other," she paused, a glint of mischief in her eyes, "is to see whether your offer still stands." There was a stunned silence. Then laughter. Not mocking, but warm, surprised, amused. Darren rubbed the back of his neck, a rare blush creeping across his cheeks. "Well, Ambassador," he said, standing straighter, "humans are a species of our word." From that moment, the talks progressed smoothly. The Terrans found in Keela a visionary leader. The Rydery found in Darren a link to the stars. And somewhere in between politics and promise, a relationship rekindled, not as soldier and child, but as equals. She didn't demand marriage that day. They took time, learning each other anew, discovering who they'd become. It was slow, careful, and real. And years later, when their bond ceremony was held on Ridery Prime, under the same twin suns, the guests watched in awe as a human and a Ridery united, not just two individuals, but two civilizations once oceans apart. Some still joked about the human who promised a child he'd marry her someday. But to Keela, that promise was never a joke. It was a seed. And seeds, with time and care, bloom into the most unexpected wonders. You said.